Okay, I'm Joshua Wiley. Look, there's too many Bathshebas in the world. Somebody might say, Josh, what you mean? Look, when you look at the story of Bathsheba for years, since I was a child, I never heard one sermon against Bathsheba. All I heard was David, 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 David. And David was wrong in the story and what he did, especially what he did to Uriah. But when I say there's too many Bathshebas, we got to hold Bathsheba accountable. Because a lot of women today, are not being held accountable for their actions. For one, she shouldn't have been on a rooftop, butt naked, bathing in the perfect position for David to see her. That's one. She did it strategically. She would have never been up there if Uriah had been home. But Uriah was away at war, and she took advantage of the situation. Because people like to play like, oh, she just so happened to be bathing on her rooftop at perfect angle, so the king, when he always comes out in the morning, could see her and what she was doing. No. And it took me learning and growing up older and looking at the story like, what? Why didn't I ever hear anything bad about Bathsheba? But anyway, some people might say, they play like she really didn't know, she was kind of innocent. And look, Bathsheba, and then when I actually studied and read, Bathsheba came from a smart family. Bathsheba, she came from a smart family. Matter of fact, her uncle was David's advisor. That's right, her uncle was David's advisor. And I didn't figure that out until I read the story of Absalom, and he went and fled with Absalom because he was mad at David for what David did with her and Uriah. Mainly what David did to Uriah, having Uriah killed. But anyway, so she wasn't foolish at all. She knew exactly what she was doing. And back to, like I said, the reason why I say we have too many Bathshebas, because not only did she know what she was doing, not only did she strategically do it, but the world really hasn't held her accountable at all. They only just blame David. And let's look at it. When I say that there's too many Bathshebas, she wasn't content with what she had. Let me say it again. She wasn't content with what she had. She had a mansion. This wasn't no little bitty house that she lived in, right? She's bathing on her roof. Let's get that clear. Even though the houses were made different back then, but her house is strategically set up next to the king because her husband was a high-ranking official in David's army. So she wasn't content with having a mansion next to the palace, a husband of high rank and status, and who was a soldier on go. When we read about Uriah, even when they were setting David, trying to set Uriah up to make it seem like it's his child that she was pregnant with, Uriah was such a warrior on go. He knows that when you make love and do certain things, it makes you weak. It makes your legs weak. Real talk. And if you've ever done any boxing or fighting, the trainers will tell you don't want to do nothing for about 2 months before the fight. That way your testosterone is up here on high. That's the main reason he did not go into his wife. He stayed in the palace and slept down somewhere in the palace and did not go into his wife, because he's like, my men are at war, I'm going back to war. He was thinking of trying to come back home to his unfaithful wife. Sadly, his mind was on, I need to keep my testosterone and my energy up so I can make it through this battle and come back home to my unfaithful, no good, unloyal wife. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, she wasn't content with having a husband of high-ranking stature. She wasn't content with being rich. She wasn't content with having a mansion. She was looking for the bigger and a better thing. And what did it cause? God took their child. She had to witness her child dying. David had to witness a child that he loved, a baby, dying. That was their punishment for their action. Too many women are Bathshebas today. They're blessed with whatever situation they're in, but they're always looking for the bigger and better option. Look, somebody said, well, it was still David's fault. Look, we heard that and we know that. I'm not saying it wasn't. David had a crucial, critical part to play, but now we're dealing with the other side. We got to hold both sides accountable. Stop just blaming David. It was Bathsheba's fault too. And too many women that I'm noticing, trust me, I have women that I just made a post about a woman who's living with her boyfriend and asked me out, the other day. And this is what made me have to say, let me do this, because This is about the third one. And I ain't saying like, oh, Josh is fine and all this, because I'm really not. I'm really not. You know what I'm saying? And things of that nature. I'm just responsible, hold my life together, things of that nature. I love to exercise, work out, try to keep myself together. But the 2 days ago, a woman asked me out, and I'm like, you're not only are you pregnant, but you live with your boyfriend. I don't want no parts of it. Too many women are looking for the bigger and better option. And the whole time they're not being appreciative and seeing the blessing in what they have at home. Or if you're going through trouble at home, like my friends, we're still friends, but I'm never going out with her. You know, she said, she came to me the next day and said, yeah, I was a little mad at you because you turned me down, but we're just going through some stuff at home. And like I said, because too many times people today, when they're going through something rough at home, like all couples do, this is in a fairy tale world, instead of going and working it out with your husband, too many people run to who they think is another option. Well, Josh works out and he has money and he does this and he has a good heart. I'm going straight to him. Instead of working it out with the man who loves you at home. There's too many Bathshebas in the world, and we're raising our young girls to be Bathshebas. Y'all have a good one.